Hi, namaste. Welcome friends. Thank you so much for giving me your time. In this lesson, you're going to learn about digestion from an Ayurvedic perspective. We're going to explore the deeper meaning of Agni and how digestion is much more than just putting food in our body and turning it into energy. Ayurveda describes 40 distinct metabolic processes throughout all of our body. For example, there is Sadhaka Pitta, which is digesting all our thoughts. We have fire in our eyes, which is digesting images, fire in our ears, that is giving meaning to sound. Indeed, any experience that we have, it needs fire to be transformed into something that is meaningful and nourishing. We're also going to explore Tīkṣṇāgni, which is particularly our digestive fire, and we're going to explore how the doṣas, Vata, Pitta and Kapha can cause interruptions to healthy digestion, and how this imbalance in our stomach, in our appetite, this imbalance in our normal digestive process is the first sign of disease. We're also going to explore the creation of ama, which is digestive waste, which is a metabolic waste product of all the food that we were not able to digest, and which is the root for all disease in the body. This is lesson 4 in our series on learning Ayurveda. Thank you. If you have ever experienced indigestion, if you have ever experienced bloating, constipation, or acid reflux, then this lesson will be especially helpful to you. When we speak about digestion in Ayurveda, we usually refer to Agni. Agni means fire. Agni, he is also a deva. In Vedic ritual, it is Agni who gives the offerings in the fire to the devas, to the higher beings who ensure prosperity in this world. So in the same way also, we have Agni in our stomach, which we're feeding with offerings, which we're feeding with foods, which then enable us to prosper in life. If we have good digestion, if we eat healthy foods, then our body will be nourished and our intelligence will function in an optimal way. We will be able to make good decisions and we're less likely to get sick. But if we are feeding our Agni bad foods, bad food combinations, if we eat at improper times, then this will create disease, which not only makes our physical body sick, but which also can corrupt our mind. It can make us depressed, anxious, etc. The most important of all the Agnis in the body is Tīkṣṇāgni. Tīkṣṇāgni is the fire in our stomach. You don't have to worry about the Sanskrit terms. Tīkṣṇāgni is our central fire. There's this beautiful analogy of a house. A house has a central heating system. The central heating system is the fire in our stomach, Tīkṣṇāgni. And from there, Tīkṣṇāgni empowers all the other Agnis, all the other digestive fires, all the other metabolic processes in our entire body. In the same way, like a central heating system, it is situated in one place in the house, but then from there it intersects and it branches out into many different rooms. Some room might be a bit cooler, maybe the bedroom is a bit cooler, maybe the living room is a bit warmer. So in the same way also, different parts of our body, depending on the need, will be regulated by this primary fire in our stomach. The moment Tīkṣṇāgni goes off, out of balance, in time all the other metabolic processes in the body, they will also go off. So therefore in Ayurveda, it's of utmost importance to listen to our stomach. And then second, we have Samāgni in our liver. There are 5 additional Agnis, 5 additional fires, which take care of the 5 elements: space, air, fire, water and earth. In our previous lessons, we discovered the 20 gunas, the 20 qualities of nature. And to speak poetically, we have the 5 Bhuta Agnis inside of it, which break down the elements. Bhuta means elements. So they break down the elements and turn them into the initial 20 qualities, which from there then nourish our body. Ayurveda in total speaks about 40 types, 40 different variations of metabolic fire, 40 variations of Agni. So we've covered 7 so far. Then the texts speak about 7 Dhatu Agnis. The Dhatus, they're tissues in our bodies. They're like different layers of an onion. You imagine our body like an onion, or something more positive that is layered, maybe a cabbage, depending on your food preferences. Then the Dhatus, they're different layers that cover us. First, we have Rasa Dhatu, which is like our blood plasma. It is everything in the blood except for the red blood cells. Rasa Dhatu is connected to our skin. So after the food gets digested in our stomach, it gets further refined by our liver, and then it enters our bloodstream. It becomes Rasa Dhatu, becomes blood plasma. This is why we see if a person eats the wrong food, they will have problems with their skin, because the blood, it travels through our body. It's very close to the skin. So if you eat something toxic, according to Ayurveda, then this toxin, it will travel through your blood, and your body will try to push it out. And guess what? The easiest way from here is through your skin. And therefore, there's this whole connection between skin problems and poor diet choices. After Rasa Dhatu, we have Rakta Dhatu, which are our red blood cells. From here, we go into Mamsa Dhatu, which are our muscles, Meda, fatty tissue, Asti Dhatu, our bones, Majja, the bone marrow, and also our nervous system. And finally, we have Shukra Dhatu for men and Artavar Dhatu for women, which is their sexual fluids and their sexual energy. It is important to know that every tissue has its own process of metabolization, its own process of digestion. Further, we have 3 endocrine or cellular Agnis. We have Jatru-Agni, Pilu-Agni, and Pittara-Agni. Jatru-Agni is connected to our thyroid or our thymus, which manages our endocrine system. We have Pilu-Agni, which is in every cell of our body and in the intelligence of the cell membrane, which always decides, shall I eat these foods or not? What do I let in the cell? And Pittara-Agni is the intelligence within the cell that is metabolizing, we can say, that is in charge of the different processes of your DNA, etc. Yeah, Ayurveda is not a primitive science, okay? It is not just some cave dwellers or forest dwellers 5,000 years ago that just pulled Ayurveda out of their head. Just hearing these descriptions, we can really offer our respects to the sages and their insight in meditation, even thousands and thousands of years ago. Further, there's 5 Agnis in all of our senses. We call them the Indriya Agnis. So we have fire in our eyes that give us vision. There's fire in our ears that allows us to give meaning to sound, because what is sound? Sound is just a frequency. What is light? Light also, it's actually just a frequency. All experiences in our brain, they get turned into electric signals, like fire. And then they get processed like a computer and presented to our mind. Then we have Grana Agni, which processes smell. We have Rasana Agni, which processes taste. We have Sparsha Agni, which processes touch. Now we are 22 Agnis. There are 15 more Dosha Agnis. Every dosha, Vata, Pitta and Kapha, has 5 Agnis in their sub-dosha and their sub-component. You don't have to memorize them, you can just appreciate them. Vata dosha has 5 sub-doshas, 5 sub-categories. We have prana. Prana is that vata, is that air that we're breathing in that nourishes us. We breathe it in through our nose and it goes down to our lungs and to our heart. And there is prana agni, which is helping us to metabolize this inward breath. There is udana prana, udana vata, agni. Udana is that air that comes out of our lungs. There's also a metabolic process involved in this. Then we have Samāna Agni. Samāna is the air that is circulating in our stomach. We have Vyana Agni, which is the air circulating through our entire body, and the Agni related that is helping in the metabolization of this movement, of this variation of Vata. And finally, we have Apana Agni, which is the air that is going down. So if a person has constipation, if there's problems with the menstrual cycle, then if a man has problems with premature ejaculation, that means there's a problem with this Apana, this downward motion of air. And also this Agni that is regulating it. Pitta dosha also has its 5 subdivisions. We have Pācaka Pitta, which is primarily in our GI tract. And Pācaka Pitta, of course, it has its own Agni, processing all the foods, all for our GI tract. We have Ranjaka Pitta, which is again in our liver, and Ranjaka Pitta Agni, Alochaka Pitta Agni, which is in our eyes, again, Sadhaka Pitta Agni, which is in our brain, and which is this fire that gives us clarity, that makes us give meaning to life, that fire that makes us see ourselves. Yogis, when they perform austerity, it creates heat. And that heat, that fire, that allows them to see the truth. Maybe you've seen a viral short of a yogi meditating in the snow, and the snow is just evaporating. Because it is fire that we create in austerity and meditation, and it is fire that allows us to see the truth. Like when we throw something into fire, it separates all the ingredients. So also, if you want to see who we really are, we need a little bit of fire here. If you want to do math, also we need a little bit of fire. That is Sadhaka Pitta. And then we have Brajaka Pitta lastly, which is that fire that gives our skin its natural luster. So people who have a lot of fire, we see their skin is quite bright and effulgent. And then Kapha has its 5 subvariants as well. We have Kledaka Kapha, which is our stomach lining. Otherwise, Jataragni, which is burn down the stomach. And this can happen if you eat too many acidic foods. The fire gets too much, you can destroy your stomach lining. Fortunately, it comes back after a few hours, after 48 to 72 hours. Then we have Avalambaka Kapha, which is the Kapha lining in our lungs and in our heart that protects our lungs from the dry air when we breathe in. This is why if there's too much dryness in the air, it hurts kapha. We can have nose bleeding in our nose, etc. There's also other reasons for that. If the person has asthma, there's problems with this avalambaka kapha. Then we have badaka kapha. Then we have bodhaka kapha, which is situated in our mouth. Tarpaka kapha, which is in our brain. Some people say it's like the gray matter, gray cells in our brain that allow us to remember things. Because pitta is this fire, transformation, it is understanding, giving meaning. But if we want to remember something, we need kapha, like we have to hold on to it. We need that water and earth element. That is tarpaka kapha in our brain. And finally, we have shleshaka kapha, which is situated in our joints and which is lubricating our joints. If there's problems with shleshaka kapha Agni, like all these subdoshas of kapha have their own Agni. If there's a problems of shleshaka kapha Agni, it means that this lubrication in our joints is unable to metabolize when we eat oily foods, because there's problems with this digestion. At this level of our body, like our joints are still dry because the oil is just not reaching, because not being able to digest it. So now we have a total of 37. There's 3 more. We have Mudra Agni, Viṣamāgni and Agni, which are the 3 Mala Agnis. They're connected to the digestion and elimination of waste. Mudra is urine, Purisha is feces, and Sveda is sweat, which are extremely important even in Ayurveda. Now, why am I telling you all of this? I know your time is valuable. I know not many of you are planning to become PhDs in Ayurveda, but I want to share this with you to point out that all these processes in your body, they are connected. And they begin with the digestion of food in your stomach. They all need you to eat healthy foods. The moment we neglect our stomach, the moment we neglect Jataragni, the moment we neglect our central heating system, our body starts collapsing, and all the processes in our body, they will slowly deteriorate. Based on our karma, based on the environment we're in, whichever part in our body is the weakest, there will be ama created, toxic, unproduced waste, which will then locate in one of those tissues, in one of these parts of our body, and create disease. We're going to explore this more in this lesson, and particularly also in our 7th lesson, which is Samprapti, pathogenesis. So let's explore how to properly look after our stomach and how to listen to our stomach. There is a simple self-assessment that we can do on ourselves to check the state of our Agni, to check the health of our digestion. we can ask ourselves, how do I feel after and before eating a meal? Do I feel any discomfort, bloating or gas after eating a meal? Do I feel still hungry after eating? I ate a big meal, but just 1 hour later I'm hungry again. Do I feel a sense of dissatisfaction after I eat? Or do I feel excessively sleepy after a meal? Do I feel that I eat multiple meals? Let's say that I ate 3 meals in a day, but I did not have any bowel movement that day. Or I had too many bowel movements that day, more than 2. If the answer to any of these questions was yes, this is a sign that we have imbalanced Agni, that there's an imbalance in our digestion. This is the first stage, we could say, the very, very first stage of disease. It's the first symptom that our body is giving us that soon something is going to go off. So if we listen carefully, if we can address it here, we can prevent a lot, a lot of problems. So let's look at this a little bit deeper. There's 4 possibilities described for the state of our digestion. We have Tīkṣṇāgni, which is sharp and fiery digestion. We have Mandāgni, which is slow digestion. And Viṣamāgni, which is irregular digestion. My friends, don't worry, there's a 4th stage. Also, that is Samāgni, which means balance. So let's look at them a bit more deeply. Tīkṣṇāgni means that Pitta dosha has entered our GI tract more than it should. Okay, there's an imbalance of Pitta in our GI tract. In general, people who have a Pitta nature, they're more prone towards Tīkṣṇāgni. Especially if they eat foods that aggravate Pitta. If they eat a lot of hot foods, a lot of overly oily foods, a lot of light foods, that can aggravate their digestion and cause Tīkṣṇāgni. Which means that these people, maybe yourself, if you're feeling a lot of hunger every day, all the time, you wake up and you're hungry. You eat breakfast and you're hungry again. You eat lunch and you're hungry again. And no food can really give you satisfaction. And you're eating so much, but you're still not gaining any weight. You might have problems with heartburn or acid reflux. You might even sometimes have a little bit extra anger. All of this are signs for Tīkṣṇāgni, sharp digestion. Too much fire in the GI tract. An easy way to balance this is to avoid overly spicy foods. To avoid foods that have too much salt, that are too oily or too processed. And you can also have a little bit of takra, which is like buttermilk. You can make it at home. You get an organic ahimsa yogurt and you use 1 part of yogurt to 4 parts of water. You mix them nicely. Maybe you can fry some cumin seeds, add them in, take a pinch of salt. And you can drink 1 cup of this after lunch. It will help to cool down. You need a little bit more heavy foods at the right times, regular meal times. You cannot skip breakfast if you're having Tīkṣṇāgni. Now, a second possibility is we have Mandāgni. Mandāgni means Kapha dosha has entered our GI tract, which means we just don't feel hungry at all. These people usually don't eat breakfast, and at lunch maybe they get a little bit hungry. Sometimes they don't have dinner as well. Because Kapha has entered their GI tract. Too much earth, too much water, they always feel heavy. When they eat a meal that is too big, they get bloated. They can have problems with bloating, discomfort, stomach pain. No hunger, can't digest any nice meal. Often their bowel movement, it's a little bit more mucousy and oily as well. That is a sign of Mandāgni. Just think of your stomach like a campfire. Tīkṣṇāgni means that the fire was too hot, and therefore the food, it gets burned on the outside, but it does not get cooked in the inside. And therefore these people with Tīkṣṇāgni, they eat and they eat and they eat, but they don't gain weight and they don't get satisfaction either. Now, with Mandāgni, the campfire is too slow. There's not enough heat, there's not enough fire, it's just not going off. And you can cook food on a fire with a small flame, you can cook it forever and it might never cook. So this is the problem with people who have Mandāgni, and that's why they can't eat heavy meals, because they just don't have the digestive capacity. If we have Mandāgni and we want to improve our digestion, what really helps is to have well-spiced meals. Maybe we can add a little bit of ginger, cumin seeds. There's an Ayurvedic blend, it's called Tīkṣṇāgni, which means free peppers, free pungents. We can add them with our meal. We can mix them with water and have them half an hour before we have our meal to create hunger. All of this can be very helpful. Also movement. Movement really helps kapha, as we discussed previously. And last we have Viṣamāgni, which Viṣamāgni happens if Vata dosha has entered our GI tract in excess, right? There's always, the free doshas are always there, but here we speak about excess, too much. So Viṣama is irregular appetite. We are hungry suddenly, then we're not hungry. Sometimes we skip meals. One day we have breakfast at 7, the next day we have breakfast at 10. Then we don't have breakfast at all. It's very irregular. Irregular habits, irregular lifestyles, like Vata people, they're a little bit irregular. So this is also a problem. Again, think you're cooking on a campfire and there's a lot of wind, so much wind. It's difficult to cook if there's so much wind, right? Suddenly the flame is high, then the flame is low. It's very difficult to cook on such a campfire. So this is the case for our friends who are Viṣamāgni, irregular digestion. The best thing to help with this is to have fixed meal times, to tell our body that you're gonna have breakfast at this time every morning, lunch at this time, dinner at this time. Fixed meal times are good for everyone. We're going to explore that later when we discuss Dinacharya. I think that's our lesson 6. But particular for Vata friends, there's nothing as helpful as having routine, structure and schedule, particularly with their meal times, because our body will remember. If we have our lunch every day at 12 o'clock, our body will remember. At 11:30, our body knows, hey, Keshri, it's time to eat lunch now. And then our body will prepare the enzymes to start digestion so we can actually eat our food. There's a really nice spice blend for our Vata friends. It's called Tīkṣṇāgni, which is a combination of hing and 8 other spices. Ashta means 8. Mainly it's hing. It's a little bit like many Jain people or many Vaishnavas, many Hindus. They don't eat onion and garlic because they're too pungent, and often they take hing because hing is a very strong spice. You will love it. If you've never tried it before, cook some beans with it, some lentils. It is amazing. It helps with digestion so much, particularly for Vata people. And for everyone else as well, they will just enjoy the beautiful smell and flavor of it. So you can add Tīkṣṇāgni with your meal. That can be very helpful. Or you can just spice your meals a bit better, have good times. Now, a person could have a variation of those two. Maybe a person has Tīkṣṇā and Viṣamāgni, like Vata and Pitta causing imbalances, which mean that sometimes they're not hungry at all, and then they get so hungry, right? So hungry, like they could eat the horse, as they say. Or it could be Viṣamā and Mandāgni, it's very slow and a bit irregular. Or it could be, I don't know if it could be Tīkṣṇā and Manda. I mean, these qualities are so different. I haven't met many people with that, but be open for it. And of course, it could also be healthy. We could have Samāgni, balanced digestion. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it is the country I live in, but I've not seen many people with Samāgni. Balanced digestion. Modern lifestyle, they're really expert. Modern lifestyle, modern foods, processed foods, and unnatural environments that we live in, they're very, very good and destroying our healthy digestion. So I hope this was helpful to you. Now, if we don't take care of our Agni, if we don't listen, if we have Manda, Tīkṣṇā or Viṣamāgni, if you have fiery, slow or irregular digestion, and if you don't listen to me, then the body will create Ama. Ama is the toxic residue, is the toxic waste that happens after digestion. We can consider Agni, our digestive fire, the hero of this Ayurvedic story. He's the hero. He fights for our health. He ensures that our health is there and that everybody is safe. And Ama, which is the metabolic waste products that are created in the process of digestion, we can consider Ama like the villain. He's the evil person. He's the one that causes disease. He, she, or they. Yeah, they cause disease. Now, when our digestive fire breaks down foods, some material of the food, it will be turned into energy. It will be turned into nourishment for all the different layers of our tissue. And some material will be turned into waste. Waste that just gets eliminated through the 3 different channels of elimination. But there's some material that is not turned into nourishment and that is not immediately eliminated. This we call Ama. It's a sticky substance that can clog up our body and cause problems. Many people that come to me, they have high blood pressure. And you tell me if I'm wrong, but tell me in a nice way. But I've heard that a lot of blood pressure, a lot of problems with blood pressure these days, it is often difficult to assess their cause. And then we label it as unspecified high blood pressure. And we might recommend some medication to lower blood pressure. In Ayurveda, in most cases, high blood pressure is caused because there's too much Ama circulating in the bloodstream, which causes viscosity, which means there's thickness of the blood, which is then causing high blood pressure. And a simple remedy for many people, especially as we grow older, many people have come to me with high blood pressure. One simple remedy for this is to reduce how much we're eating. Especially after age 45, many people don't really need 3 meals anymore. Many of us will get away with 2 after age 45, unless you're underweight, okay? I have to be really careful with giving you nutritional advice that is general for everyone. But most of us will get away because if we eat a little less, because naturally as we age, our digestion gets less and less. And if we eat less, then our body has more time to recover and to rejuvenate. Like one remedy for Mandāgni also is just to eat less, to fast. That will help our body to get stronger, especially if we put some pungent foods together with this. So also if many people who have high blood pressure, if they would just eat less, particularly at night, then often their blood pressure will go down really quickly. Because we're increasing our digestion. Ama and Agni, they're like enemies. Whenever Agni gets better, Ama will get less. And whenever Ama will increase, Agni will get weaker and will get less. So also, for many problems, we're always trying to increase digestion. Most people who have mental disorders, most physical disorders, we actually want to help them to digest, because when we improve their digestion, we're not only improving their metabolism, we're not only improving their energy levels, but remember there's also Sadhaka Pitta in our brain, which is helping us to digest experiences. And it's very common. We have an experience that we can't digest, some trauma, some difficult karma. Oh my God, Shani, he moved into our first house, or whatever it was, or Rahu, or a karma, or people in our life, if you don't believe in astrology, right? Then that we can even experience that we can't digest, and that is connected to Ama as well, psychic Ama, we could nearly call it like this. And we want to improve our digestion to really give meaning to this experience. So, how do we do this? Well, we reduce Ama by increasing Agni, so we eat the right foods for our constitution. We live the right lifestyle for our constitution. Many people ask me often about cravings. And how do we know when we desire a food, if that is because of our own intelligence and our need, or is that because of something else? And in Ayurveda, there's something that we call pragya. Pragya means our inborn wisdom. Everybody has pragya. We all have wisdom. It's like the inner guru. If you have a strong Jupiter, you'll have more pragya, naturally. If you don't, then you just need to find a guru, read a lot of books. Maybe you can get there. So everyone knows inherently what is good for them, and we inherently like foods that are good for us. Every cell in our body has intelligence, and knows what is good for itself. However, if there's a lot of ama, then this ama, it infiltrates our body, and it infiltrates the cells, and it clouds the cells, it pollutes the intelligence of our cells, and it makes us desire and crave things that are not necessarily good for us. For example, if a person is craving ice cream in winter, we know this craving is because of some internal pollution. It's because ama has entered the body already. It has infiltrated the intelligence of the cells, and now the cells, they don't desire what balances them, but they desire what they like, what is like them. So the cell that's already toxic, now it likes more toxic food. Ice cream in winter, it's not going to benefit any constitution. In the same way, like sometimes vata individuals who are already quite dry and light, they have these cravings for popcorn, which is exactly like vata. Popcorn is just such a vata food. And from an Ayurvedic perspective, we know that this craving, it is not because of our own wisdom, it's not because of our own intelligence, it has ama that has already entered. But if it is summer, we're feeling really hot and we're craving a cucumber, we're craving a salad, that comes from our inborn intelligence. So here we have to use our knowledge. You can ask ourselves, where does this come from? Am I eating this food to balance my dosha, my constitution, or am I eating this food just to satisfy my tongue? The best way to reduce ama in our body is to understand the science of the 6 tastes. To understand the science of Ayurvedic nutrition, because Ayurvedic nutrition is not just about counting fats and proteins and calories. It's not just counting macro and micronutrients, but it's actually about understanding tastes, because every food tells us what it does to our body through the taste it has. It tells it also through the color, through the smell, through its form. Like kidney beans, which look like kidneys, they're really good for your kidneys. Oranges, which look like the sun, they're really good for you in winter when there's not much sun around. Walnuts, have a guess, they're really good for your brain. Nature is speaking to us, and Ayurveda, it's actually so obvious, it's so intuitive. So we want to understand the science. We want to understand how every food is either balancing or agitating my constitution. And this we can understand the best by understanding the 6 tastes. This is what we're going to cover in our lesson number 5. I would love to see you there. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please drop me a comment below. Thank you. Namaste. Thank you.